A former two-time champion visited the Chiefs before the draft. Can the Chiefs do the impossible in this upcoming NFL draft? And is Veach's job secure in KC? All of this next on Gridiron Gambit.
Welcome, Chiefs Kingdom. Thanks for tuning in to this Red Kingdom Media production, bringing you raw, authentic Chiefs coverage. Make sure to like and subscribe to stay up to date on your team. Now sit back and enjoy the show.
Let's work. Hey.
What's up, everybody, and welcome back to another episode of Gridiron Gambit. I'm one of the co-hosts for the evening, Dilly Dale Fowler, along with my partners in crime. It's been a while since we've been back together. I got Clinton and Lonnie with me. How y'all doing tonight?
Awesome.
Doing good. Excited. Ready to talk some Chiefs.
Yeah, I am too. I mean, we definitely got a lot to talk about. Honestly, I mean, a lot of you could say we could be reaching with some of these topics tonight, but we're looking for something to, of course, bring to you all. That way we can have a discussion because it's pretty interesting. I think we have some fun with it tonight as well too. So let's go ahead and jump into our first topic for this evening. And that's Bulldog in the trenches. All right. So the Chiefs met with former two-time and national champion Warren Brinson. I might be saying that incorrectly. Bryson, one of those two, Sunday afternoon during his pre-draft visit. This particular player is a defensive tackle who played with the Georgia Bulldogs, and he was a part of those two championships they had in 2021 and 2022. So would you be okay if the Chiefs took him with the 31st pick?
I mean, I've spoken with Clinton on numerous occasions about this, just previously on one of our previous episodes, about how the Chiefs are going to decide to use that 31st pick down there at the bottom of the draft. However, I wouldn't say I would dislike the pick. However, that wouldn't be the pick that I would be in favor of. I think that we all know that the Chiefs need to go and get kind of the nasty, ugly pick. And make it an offensive lineman, whether it be a guard or a tackle. Now, and this is a trench pick, being that it is some type of lineman. However, I think it needs to be one on the offensive side of the ball, not necessarily a defensive tackle. But if we're in the case in a situation where it's best player available, and this player is sitting down there at 31, then yeah, I think you go ahead and pull the trigger on it. But however, I think if you have the ability to go get a tackle or somebody to be able to come in and help on that side of the ball where you need the most help at, then I think you go ahead and do that. I don't see us going and get a wide receiver or a defensive lineman. I think the Chiefs need to go ahead and address the problem head on. And as we've all been talking about, I've been talking about for a couple of years now, the revolving door at tackle. We got to stop this. We got to figure out a way to kind of get some answers. So I don't think we need to go defensive line, but I wouldn't be upset if they did, and that's the best player available. However, if it's a tackle down there at that 31 slot or that 31 position, then I think the Chiefs need to be picking that tackle or that offensive guard to possibly just shore up the more pieces on their offensive line. Because when we flip on the film from the Super Bowl and just really at these years past, that's kind of been their Achilles heel, is just that left tackle position and getting pressure on Mahomes. They kind of haven't been able to stop it. And it's kind of just spiral some things out of control. Really kind of, I think, led to his interception total going up. Just a lot of different things. You have an offense, but it was kind of like never really stagnant. It was never really like consistent. It was kind of always just stagnant, middle of the road. So, and that was due to some injuries. But however, I think the offensive line needs to be shored up before anything. So I don't think the Chiefs should be trying to go pick a fancy defensive lineman. Now, I love the history of the guy and his background. I love, of course, being on that defensive line with Georgia, playing with Nolan Smith and the rest of those guys. Hats off to him. But if it's best player available, then yeah. But if it's a defensive tackle, offensive lineman that is better at that position down there at 31, then yes, go ahead. Then no, go ahead and get the offensive lineman. No, don't do this.
I feel like Lonnie's just reciting my recent article at this point, or at least the first half of it. I mean, you said it at some point, like trenches is kind of one and the same, but it's very clear that Lonnie thinks the Chiefs need to pick an offensive lineman at any point in the first round. And if you're really dead set on that idea, then I don't think pick 31 is really in play anymore. So depends on how high you're willing to go. And we have another segment here where we'll talk about trying to pull off like the super duper trade. But if you're just trying to get in medium first round range for, a couple of the guys I mentioned in that mock draft write up, that they're available. One of them that you keep seeing out of Ohio State, he's coming off injury, so whether or not he can start right away or be like left tackle or hold up after his recent injury, that's to be determined. So, like, if you're the Chiefs, all I'm saying is whoever you choose at pick 31, it needs to be a game-changing type player. And if you're dead set on, one of these linemen, it's not going to be within the 30s. Even those people who really want a certain Mizzou product, he may not be available within 30 either. So, in my opinion, not having seen Brinson's name mentioned a lot within first round means that he could be a 31st overall pick potential, kind of like Chris Jones. And I think in that case, Brett Veach may want to move down because Chris Jones was essentially the first pick of the Chiefs in 2016, and that wasn't until I want to say pick 36. It was like pick 4 on day 2 or something like that. So if that was the pick, then that'd be like okay, we're really making some foundational moves. But it seems to me like, Lonnie, you really want a foundational choice. And like, it seems if it's going to be offensive tackle, you got to trade up higher than that. But defensive lineman might be something that kind of falls. But then again, I feel like in particular, good linemen, offensive for sure, but defensive just as much. If they're really good, teams will take them. Think like the Philadelphia Eagles already had defensive tackles and then takes Jalen Carter and just adds to that dominance. So, you can't have too many of one particular thing. You can have several wide receivers on the field at the same time. So, just make a pick that impacts the Chiefs immediately in 2025. We can't have those first couple picks be guys that need time to develop or need to find their specific role, and it's not to the production or snap production that you would like to see. So whoever the Chiefs pick first just needs to be able to make impact on the field right away. A Georgia defensive lineman is definitely a player that can acclimate to the NFL really well, playing the SEC, having won a national championship. So, you wouldn't necessarily dislike the move, but I can understand, Lonnie, if you have some frustrations that the move isn't, flashy enough or fix the immediate hole that you see, specifically at left tackle. But, I already saw it in the comments several times. You can't discount what Jalen Moore is, and it's clear through his contract that he's expected to at least try to be left tackle this year. So
it ain't no trying. I'm gonna just put that. It ain't no trying.
Yeah, it's his job to lose unless, one of the top 2 tackles who are good left tackles is up there, and the Chiefs do want to make that move. But I don't think they're incentivized to do that, considering, their completeness. They've rounded off some positions, may not be like A+ or A- moves, but they're B or B+ moves. That's good enough for them, but still gives us, pause and concern. So.
I think both of you made some great points to answer some of the answer the questions that was in the chat. So with the $5 bet, you can up it up to 20, bro. It's not going to be his worst season, so we can go ahead and bet 20 on that. If you win it, go ahead and do that. You are right, Dre. They did, of course, pay more to start. And I think we need to go ahead and, of course, acknowledge that. And when we're talking about going in the draft, you're saying either offensive tackle line or your offensive guard. I'm okay with guard because going back to what you just said, Dre, you're moving over Kingsley to left guard. Let's calm down. Let's stop right here. Y'all are the reason, fans and the people that was in there, he's the reason why he didn't finish the rest of the season as a starter for left tackle. We're not going to go ahead and move him over to left guard like this is a for sure thing that he's going to be dominant. I'm not going to do that. With how he came into the offseason, OTAs, all that good stuff. Oh, boy, he looking tough. He looking great. Ooh, he coming out after the first team reps in the preseason. And what happened week 1 and week 2? Brutalized. Dogged out. That's why we went to go get Jalen Moore, even though he's the backup. And, yeah, I might be reaching on him, and y'all know me as well, too. I will talk myself into liking somebody and figuring out and waiting to see if it works. You paid this man $26 million guaranteed. He has a 2-year contract worth $30 million. Basically, you're saying you're going to go into this season. You have a great season. We're going to do an extension. You're 27 years old. We can see you as a future because we messed up with Orlando Brown. We went ahead and let go of Eric Fisher after his injury. We tried to go draft Kingsley, who didn't work out left tackle, and we had to go ahead and let him go, and that killed his confidence. Let's calm down a little bit because they filled the holes. They filled the areas. Really, left guard is the only one in question right now. Now, if you're talking about going to get somebody that you're going to eventually replace Jawan Taylor with next year, you're still wasting a pick because what we're all saying is we need somebody to come in and impact the roster right now. So if I'm going with it, I'm just going to go ahead and put it out there. I'm fine with defensive tackle. Let's go ahead and call out how we're not doing a lot and we're not getting as much pressure with our front four. Chris Jones is moving around the whole entire offensive line. The whole entire defensive line. And, he's trying to find his matchups where he can go ahead and get those sacks. George Karlaftis come in and he have his games where he does well as well. I don't know if he made it to that 10 sack season, double-digit sack this season. It looks like he was a little bit under, so we missed out on that. So I don't mind bringing in someone who could come in, who could be side by side with Chris Jones, and we go ahead and brutalize those guys because that's going to save our back end in a way. We can have more guys out in coverage that we need if we can get up there with the front forward. That's going to make the offense have to play a lot more. They're going to have to work a lot more. Those receivers are going to have to get open, right? So, and Dre, I just saw what you said as well too. Like, y'all are valid. I'm not taking that away at all. I'm just saying we can't do that. Like, you can't go ahead and say, oh, yeah, we got to go ahead and pull him out, and he's going to go out here and do it again and go ahead and put him back out there in another position, and we're just going to say it's going to work. That's all I'm saying. Like, give it some time. With the decision of going for an offensive lineman, that's not a bad pick. You went out there and signed back Hollywood Brown. You still got Rashid Rice on his rookie deal. Xavier Worthy, due to Rashid Rice getting injured, he had to elevate his game, and he looked like that. That looks like a solid 3 with the wide receiver core. And then you got a veteran, Juju Smith-Schuster coming back. We saw what he did with his first year with the Kansas City Chiefs. He can get you a 100-yard game as well, too. And then you still got the OG Travis Kelce. We feel we have the weapons. They were just hurt. We went out for DeAndre Hopkins because everything just went downhill. We lost Rashid Rice in week 4. Everything was we literally had Worthy, Justin Watson. Scott Moore ended up getting hurt, and y'all don't like him. Justin Ross hasn't been reliable. Nico Remigio, he was still finding himself a little bit because he had the injury. He looked good in his rookie season and in the preseason, but he got hurt, right? This was his first year back where he's going to do all that. Now, out of all the names I just said, y'all are y'all confident in that? I just want y'all to answer. Y'all confident in that? So,
What, in the team?
If you had Hollywood Brown, Rashid Rice, and then Xavier Worthy, okay, you cool. I'm good. Yeah. We didn't need to go get a DeAndre. So for us to go 15-2 with that in terrible offensive line play, I mean, we got to go ahead and put it out there. I'm saying the wide receiver room. The
wide receiver room was straight, but the thing was just the question was about how we make shift.
That wasn't straight.
But I'm saying the question was how we using 31. And I'm just saying, telling the truth, because we acting like we didn't just go sign Tillery. You didn't go re-sign Omenihu. You already got Felix, who's trying to fight for a spot, a first-round pick already.
That's a defensive end. I mean, you get
but
that
I mean,
from the offensive line.
and you can say defensive end, but they coming in as defensive lineman in this SPAG system. You know how that go. You playing inside, outside, you playing everywhere. Unless you build like Colin Saunders or Mike Pennell. So I mean, if he's a guy that can come in and take Charles Omenihu snaps away from him, or possibly come in and take Tillery snaps or something like that, then yeah, I'm saying okay. If it's best player available down there, then yeah, go ahead and do that. But other than that, we don't got time for that this year. Like Clinton said, you better get somebody that's gonna make an impact on day one. That's to the point that we at. I mean, we don't got time to be.
So you're going for guard then, because that tackle is not going to make an impact.
Yeah, and
Jalen Moore is starting.
And here's the thing: even if you want like a good guard, or like say the best guard in this draft, that's still like in history shows us if you want that type of player, they're still getting picked like within the top 15 to 20. So if you think they're the best guard, they're going that high, even if they're just playing guard. And I have in my series a mock in a Chiefs taking guard at 31. And I think if you would say that any other year and the Chiefs had any other result last year, I think you would be like, why would the Chiefs take a guard with their first round pick? Like, didn't we find Trey Smith in the 6th? And isn't guard like the player that like you always kind of develop and take them in the day 3 or maybe day 2 if they're that good and you take a reach on them? So why is guard something that you'd be willing to compromise this year just because of the sour taste of the Super Bowl? I mean, I get it. We paid Joe Thuney and drafted Trey Smith. I guess you could argue they'd be trying to do the same thing, but Trey Smith wasn't a first-round pick, and Trey Smith was already on the team, so now he's just getting the Joe Thuney approach. But, like you said, nobody wants to take an offensive lineman in the first round. It's usually a tackle, and if they go to guard, so be it. But that was never their first choice. So, and if you do take a guard, it's because you blatantly want a really good guard. But that's just not a flashy move to make. Like at that, and I also don't think that is the most stable, because offensive line plays just kind of takes a while. It's like a rookie offensive lineman is not going to be very good year one. See, basically every single one that we trotted out besides Creed Humphrey and Trey Smith, you have to find really good ones that are able to kind of stay decent.
And we're some good guards. In like, are you talking about in like if you're saying that you're a guard that's getting taken, you're getting taken in the top 15? That's what you're saying, right? Not like the bottom.
Correct.
Okay, I can feel that.
Or you're a tackle that's getting pushed to guard, and that's what we think is happening to Kingsley already.
Yeah, and that's what it sounds like happening to a lot of tackles in this draft too. Period.
Yeah.
Just even with the Will Campbell kid, his arms are short and stuff. So I'm just saying, I like Dre said in the chat. I don't hate that we paid him that money, but it's kind of like we setting more up to kind of be exposed a little bit, like because he got paid and he got his bag, but they kind of knew, okay, you got NFL experience, so if anything, we can lean on you in times of fire. So like we're gonna throw you out there first, of course, before anything, and then we're gonna let you get exposed. And once we see it don't work, you got a little bit more NFL experience, so we got a little bit more of a leash with you. When we get somebody in here like a rookie, I don't think we got as much of a leash. So, but I still think they need to get bodies at the position, period, because it's still not a definite with him.
You can get that depth, but you get the depth in the later rounds, I feel, as well too. You can find those as like you don't have to go ahead and reach. You gotta let him start. You need to let him. If I'm paying a guy like that, I need to make sure that you're set up for success to win that position. I'm not going to pay you $26 million guaranteed. Just go ahead and sit on his bench. We're not going to do that at all. We really didn't want to give DJ Humphries $4.5 million for you not to even come in and be able to start the remainder of the season. Like, we have to come in and act as if you're the GM who's giving out this money. No, bro, we're going to make sure you are successful. So just like you did with Joe Thuney, and I'm just going to say this, you don't have to help him all the time. He's a natural left tackle. Like, and Dre, I agree. I don't want to go off of just potential, but we have saw the reps where you look good, and we talked about that as well too on that episode like last Friday, a couple weeks ago on Tuesday. So I definitely feel where we're coming from on that. But if he's able to be successful, and I want him to be successful, we'll be okay. And you're saying a lot of these guys are tackles in this draft and being converted to guard. So either way it go, Kingsley's going to have to battle. And that's what I'm saying. If you're going to do it, okay, cool. But like you said, Lonnie, we're talking about the 31st pick. That's why I said I was okay with defensive tackle as well. Let's not act like we don't need depth on that defensive line. Act like we can't get after the quarterback without going ahead and sitting pressure. Having a corner come off the edge. Having Nick Bolton or Drew Tranquil doing the delayed blitz. Like, I need my front four to go ahead and be able to put pressure on the quarterback, make him move up in the pocket, be able to make that noise without us having to send that pressure. That way, we're not making our defensive backs liabilities. I'm getting tired of that. Now, we have definitely has some great cornerbacks and has some people be able to step up in some positions and do their job. But we don't have that L'Jarius Sneed from the 4th round no more. We don't have that Travarius Ward that we traded for, who was an undrafted draft pick from the Cowboys, who end up becoming one of the best corners in the league and getting paid. We don't have that. Trent McDuffie is our best corner, and we want him to be in the inside. We need to make sure that they're good. We need to make sure that they're all right. So if you're getting them off the field, hey, Pat, we're going to get you that offensive line. We saw it in 2022 when they had an offensive line that were able to do it. Even though Donovan Smith was out a little bit, going back and forth, or was that 2023? No, that was 2023. We had 2022. We had Orlando Brown. We were the number one offense and had 6,000 total yards. That was better than the years we had with Tyreek Hill. Oh, don't want me to say it again. That was better than the years we had with Tyreek Hill. And he didn't have a 1,000-yard receiver. All we need to do is give him a what, y'all? A competent offensive line. So I get where y'all coming from as well. So if they do go guard, I'm fine. And we have somebody compete. Like you said, we get bodies there. We have people already on the back end where we have the depth. We have it, but we're trying to find that for sure left guard that's going to start, because you said Jalen Morris is going to start. So we can all go back into it. We're going back and forth. I think at this point now, sorry, Dre, it's not going to be a skill position. It's not. I think they're really banking on Hollywood. Supposed to be there last year. That shoulder injury was unsuspected. And y'all can say how overhyped I am. Me and Lonnie is sold on Rashid Rice. He's the number one. I don't care what you're talking about.
I am.
We don't know when he's playing, though. That's the thing. Or for how much.
We don't know what's happening, but we're going to act like he's playing game one. That's all we can say right now. Yeah. You said you've been hearing it from other sources as well, too. Who knows if he's going to even get hit this year? We've been hearing that around. So, like, if we can get a restart and then, get my boy Kareem Hunt a ring, I'm all for it. But anything else y'all want to add on to this before we go ahead and move forward?
No, I don't think we left nothing else on the ball.
Yeah, that was a good 22 minutes about that. So, yeah, you see how we felt. This was a decent topic. But before we move on,
make sure to like and subscribe. Follow us on all our social media platforms at Red Kingdom Media. Please like and subscribe to our YouTube channel. Leave a like or comment so we can reply and interact with you and make you a part of the show. If you listen to us on Spotify, please rate us 5 stars so we can increase our reach in the playlist. Follow us and all our contributors on all the social media platforms: TikTok, Instagram, Facebook, and X. If you'd like to come on and talk Chiefs, message us so we can potentially set that up. Do you enjoy written content? Subscribe to our Substack. We have both a free and a $5 a month subscription and post on there frequently. And if you have any interest in being a contributor on the writing staff, feel free to reach out and we'll be in touch. It would help support the brand if you would purchase our merch, like the shirt that I'm wearing currently. Set up an order for one of these or 2 or 3, and this will allow us to expand our inventory options. Thanks for being a part of this channel, and if there's any partner that's listening to this interested in sponsoring the show or any other content that we produce, please reach out. Now, back to the show.
So make sure to check out Clinton's Chef's Veach mock draft articles, where he is going through different Chiefs mock drafts and highlighting key picks that can impact the roster. One will be coming out this Friday, then next Monday, and then the morning of the draft. Also, if you would like a 1-month free trial to our Substack, please reach out so we can send that to you. And someone buys a shirt, we will give you 6 months free to our Substack. All right, now jumping on to our next topic. Doing the impossible. This is going to be a pretty interesting one for this. All right, so FanSided projected a trade scenario that would surprise many fans and media personalities in the upcoming 2025 draft. The Kansas City Chiefs move up to pick 8, giving away their number 131 pick in this year draft, and then 2025 third round pick, and then a 2026 first round pick. It's definitely a hefty price to pay. However, it allows KC to get an elite tackle, receiver, or a defensive playmaker to add to the 3-time champion roster. So, for you both, would you be okay with this move, or are you fine where we at?
Yeah. So I mean, I think it's easy to say that. Safe to say after how all of us have been speaking that we will be okay with the move. However, I'm fine with where the Chiefs are. If that means not sacrificing as much of the future as what they would have to sacrifice. Especially with it not being any players in this draft, like we just spoken about in the previous segment, of that type of caliber, of the Joe Alt type caliber, in this type of draft. So now, if it's a player coming out of that type of caliber at the tackle position or at the guard position, then yeah, I say you go ahead and you make that move. But I don't know if I don't think anybody. I haven't heard of anyone that's coming out of that caliber. I don't see the Chiefs doing that. However, if it was a player of that caliber, I'll be fine with it if the Chiefs were wanting to wager all of those things in order to move up to get that player. In all reality, like Clinton said really earlier, I really see the Chiefs maybe even moving back in this draft to try and possibly get somebody that they want, being that the players aren't kind of stacking up and adding up to be one of the best drafts that we've seen in previous histories of the NFL. So I don't see the Chiefs wagering all that stuff. I wouldn't like it if they did it in this particular draft. Now, if we heard some different things about tackles and linemen coming out, then I wouldn't mind. But as far as this draft, I don't want the Chiefs doing that. I think I'm fine with where the Chiefs are at 31.
So, Lonnie, if the number 1 ranked tackle prospect is on the board at pick 8 overall, after what you just said earlier about you don't know if Jalen Moore's it and the Chiefs have to get a left tackle that you're comfortable with, you wouldn't want to make that trade?
You said the number 8?
No, for pick 8. Pick 8, number 8 overall for the best tackle prospect in the draft. Like 7 picks have gone by. The number 1 best tackle off the board for this argument, we'll say Will Campbell out of LSU. There's a Mizzou tackle. There's Josh Simmons out of Ohio State. A couple others mentioned in my article, but that's like the 1A so far. So if he's sitting there at pick 8, they think he's the best left tackle. You don't want the Chiefs to make that move despite your concerns with the offensive line.
I wouldn't want him to make the move because the way they talked about the kid, he's not coming in, I don't think, to play. He wouldn't be coming in to play tackle for the Chiefs. Just being the prototype, the typical tackle that the Chiefs like. And I seen him having previous history. Eric Fisher, I don't think ever had a problem with measurement when it came to arms or anything like that. What they just went through with Joe Tooney at the tackle position. When you see somebody with shorter arms get out there against somebody like Montez Sweat and kind of what he did to Joe Tooney. And he would now, granted, Joe Tooney was a guard. However, that's just a kind of microcosm of the position. If you have shorter arms, people with long arms have the ability to do that to you. A la Chris Jones. That's why he's bull rushing people and usually putting people's arms in the air, toss you all around. So I wouldn't want to be honest with you. I wouldn't want to do it just because he's like I said, I want somebody of the Joe Alt type caliber. Somebody is going to come in and be a surefire tackle where we're like, okay, one of these guys is losing their job. And like y'all said, Jalen Moore, he probably doesn't get $26 million if they have a plan to do something like that in the draft, or if they're hearing something like that. So if it's something of that caliber, then I say yeah. But being what I'm hearing about Campbell and his arms being short, and it's a lot of potential there. So, however, I don't like them moving up to go do that.
Okay, I mean I understand that. PFF has him as their number 6th overall ranked player. So at pick 8, that may be a steal if PFF is critiquing that pick. And a player like Luther Burden as well is
somewhere within the 15 to 20s. And I know that is a player that Chiefs Kingdom has hyped up a lot just from, being a local kid out of St. Louis already. So, like, that's the thing with draft. It's all about values. So if the Chiefs moved up to pick 8, if they did that, I would be in favor of it because they saw a player that they're like, okay, this is, the next great, whatever position it turns out to be, whoever it compares to. And they have zero worries about it because at this point, the only other time the Chiefs gave up a future first-round pick was Patrick Mahomes. And it was, the year after when he didn't even play that season. So, the Chiefs gave up a future first for the draft. And then that 2017 season, he never played. So, and they were fine giving up that pick because they knew the value and the future potential. That's a quarterback. What other position would rank that high, Lonnie? I think it's argued. It's left tackle. The Chiefs picking at the end of the first round are never going to get a player that everyone thinks is the best left tackle. And if a trade is presented like this, and it's argued this is the best left tackle in college, that's what you want the Chiefs to be able to do. So if you're lining this trade up, I'm knocking it out because that clears up a couple things. It does put a short leash on Jalen Moore, and I think his contract kind of necessitated that. It was more front-loaded. Most of the guaranteed is at the beginning, where, I think he has to have a second season, but it's not that far off to let him go if they just haven't liked the production from him. Like if a rookie is able to beat him out, then more power to him. But Jalen Moore is set to take the spot. But wide receiver, you don't want the Chiefs to do top 10 at this point for a future because you would rather them just take several selections in mid-round. And defensive playmaker, I think they kind of like their value picks as well, unless you're getting, like Dale mentioned earlier, like the best cornerback in the draft, or one of those top tier players that fell to a spot where you're like, I didn't know this player would even be in range of us. Let's make a few phone calls. And it's a shorter jump in the first round. But if you're making a jump like this, it's probably for a left tackle, and it's probably the best one in the draft. And it's because the Chiefs were confident in it. And if both those things were to be true, then I would totally be fine with it because it would set us up for the future. And I think it would fix all the worries and basically half of the shows we've had over the last couple of years, but being like, oh, the problems of the Chiefs. That's usually the one spot that gets talked about. So to be left like a true offensive line and never get talked about is the dream scenario, and I think that could be achievable.
Y'all gonna be probably surprised what I'm about to say, but I will feel the same way as y'all, right? We move up to pick 8. If I'm doing this, Dre might be happy I'm taking a receiver. We never went up this far to go get somebody of this talent, this caliber. We moved up for Xavier Worthy, nothing for him, but we were just fascinated with that 4.2 40, that 4.21. But these guys that's in the top tier, being those type of weapons, being in those caliber, regardless of what class you in or not, everybody is always looking for their next Jamar Chase, their next Justin Jefferson, all that good stuff, right? You moving up, and honestly, the tackles and the people that they're saying, like a lot of them potentially falling, even like the Will Campbells as well too. People be like, why move up in this draft? Like that, I think we would be criticizing them for things like, okay, I couldn't do this in previous ones, but you gonna do it in this one where it's not that. But you said there will be top skill players at 31. Okay, yeah. Okay, true. I'm not really, that privy to like what we should expect in the draft. And everybody know this as well too. Pretty much, I learn about players when they get here. Too many teams to pay attention to in college, so like I just hear like the top players that's coming out. And a lot of times, a lot of these good players, a lot of great players, is coming from colleges we don't even know of as well too. So you really just got to see what's going on. But if they're moving up like that, you pay Jalen Moore 26 mil. I'm sorry, I can't get over that. Like, if I'm continuing to say this, he gotta start, man. He have to. And I know we're talking about Patrick Mahomes, what we did with him and Alex Smith. We knew Alex Smith tenure was done after his contract. But we ended up trading him. I think we knew the level of where you would take us to, it wasn't gonna work. And we all thought we was going to get Deshaun Watson. So we knew they was making some type of move at quarterback, and they were going to make over one of the top guys. I mean, go ahead, talk about it. Y'all can go from there.
But see, you keep saying $30 million. It's a 2-year deal. So if you're spreading it out,
it's 2 year, $26 million. I don't care. It's a 1-year deal for $26 million. You're getting a 1-year deal for $26 million.
And that's why I said it's
what's the top left tackle money?
It's a prove it deal. It's not that high. And if he gets the second year and proved it, then he gets way less money than that. It's a prove it deal. And if he doesn't prove it,
$26 million. $26 million.
But if
you
he
say
does,
it's a prove it deal, so you're saying that he's got to play this year.
But if he does, he's going back to the table, Clinton. Come on. That second year is getting tore up. That second deal is really Nolan.
They already say they're not going to come back. You think you're going to come back, have an elite year, let's say he have an all-pro season. Oh, my God. I had to drop the – say if you have an all-pro season. Boy, you better give me –
okay,
so I came on the trend.
Point counter.
That's what I'm saying on the table. I came on the trend. You saw what I did this year. I don't care. And we was arguing about Orlando Brown. So
okay, so if Jalen Moore got a chance to prove it and he did well, what would the Chiefs hurt by trading into the top 10, taking the best tackle prospect, and having a guy that's either left tackle or right tackle? Jalen Moore is either left tackle or right tackle, and if Jawan Taylor doesn't prove himself, he gets booted. So you save the $20 million from him that way. And if Jalen Moore is worth it, then you can keep getting him like the mid-20s. But if he's not, then, hey, we have a younger guy behind you. If we kick you to right tackle, you're not going to make as much. Then it looks like $15 million a year, 2 years, like his contract does show. If Jawan Taylor played left tackle for $20 million, it's one thing. But all the conversation was Jawan Taylor's right tackle. Oh, that's too much money for a right tackle. At this point, it's however much money you pay combined to both of them. Or you have a good enough rookie to take the spot, and then that burdens off the books for a little bit. So, that's a decision that needs to be made. But Jalen Moore is trying to prove it. If he does well, then good. He can make the same amount of money. But doing this, you have backup one way or the other. Either a backup left tackle because Jalen Moore doesn't prove it, or someone to take Jawan Taylor's spot, or Jalen Moore stays and you have both tackles for sure.
Sorry, I'm all on focusing on one guy. I'm kind of with the Lonnie sentiment when we go into this. I'm tired of playing this carousel, bro. Let's go ahead and put time into a guy that we want to believe in, a guy that I feel like would, regardless of what we're saying, like it could be a 2-year, 15 mil a year each, bro. You're getting 26 million this year. I don't care. Cap hit, not gonna be great. You're getting 26 million this year in your pocket, in your bank account. I don't care. That's what you're getting. So I'm all in on you, buddy. And I'm all in to make it happen. Now, you said, I see we got out here saying Veach not going to pay him if he becomes an all-pro anyway. I'm going to bite back on this narrative. He's paying his guys. Like, I don't know, like, we even had this conversation before, but like, yeah, some of the guys from the previous teams, he didn't let some guys walk, but we're not going to sit here like.
Wasn't one of his guys. He traded a first-round pick for him.
But
who that again?
Orlando Brown wasn't one of Brett Veach's guys. He traded a first-round pick for him.
He made an attempt. He made an attempt for him.
He made an attempt.
It just didn't stick.
But
he didn't low ball.
Some of those guys you didn't even hear. He even came back to office.
His argument is we're not trying to pay them enough. That's what it is. We're not selling. So the thing is, we give them a number. We're trying to pay them, but they're just not going for what we're trying to provide. Oh, but I mean, we did just pay Nick Bolton. We're also going to give, of course, a franchise tag Trey Smith the highest paid guard.
Do you think Brett Veach wasn't going to give Trent Williams the bag if San Francisco
that's the argument I was making.
Fair
I'm
enough.
glad you said that. I said that already. I said, hey, I'm an advocate because I said that in on some content on an argument on Facebook. I was like, did we not try to trade for Trent Williams and say, hey, 32-year-old Trent Williams, here's his bag
Mhm.
to play left tackle? We tried to do that. That didn't go through. So, I mean, he's been fighting for a left tackle. That's all I'm saying. He's
What better
been
place
fighting,
to get one in the
reaching.
draft and have to get one in the top 10?
You got one in free agency this time too. I mean, we could go back and forth. I think there's something that's
It's
going to
not young and for 5 years. I mean, rookies, they have that benefit. They're cheap and they're young. So you get them and you get to figure them out and sculpt them how you want right away. And you can figure out if they're worthy of that Eric Fisher contract.
But everybody is an unknown in the draft. And whether you're a high pick or a low pick, whether you 10 or 5, it don't matter. Until you step on the field and prove it, nobody cares. So we can say that about rookies, and we can even say trade up and get this guy. And they could be a Kingsley Suamataia. They could be just like any other first round pick. It's a whole bunch of first round picks that even the lap from last year that didn't work. Probably offensive linemen. So you can trade up and try and get whoever you want to. If they're going to be a surefire NFL starter, the world is yet to see. That's why the draft is so great. But so I love the plan, but they got to know. The Chiefs have to know, and they got to do their research. That's why they get paid the big bucks.
Well, there you go. You can't be happy with the draft choice until a full year later to figure out whether they're worth it or not. That's like really how exciting it was.
We had to wait 2 years for Pat.
I mean, technically, we got that little week 17 glimpse. Hey, maybe if he had gotten 2 touchdowns and no interceptions that game, maybe he could have played the playoffs and then do.
Because they really, they were trying to get on him.
They were trying to get on him. Postseason. He's like, no, Pat, you turned the ball over. I'm sorry. I know you theatrically got your first win in Denver, but no, you got.
But they try to get on him about that.
Yeah. See, but I will say this though. As far as development in the NFL, the way that Pat was developed, I feel like a lot of players should be developed that way. If players were developed that way, it would be you would get a better product. I feel like in the NFL, being that people are thrown right to the fire so quick, I don't think you get as good of a product as what you could have. Now, granted, Pat did come to a playoff contending team and got to sit a whole year and basically red shirt and watch them go and lose and do all of that stuff. So it was kind of like a perfect storm. However, I think that's really what people need. That's what players need in the NFL. I know they want players to come in and, you got lightning speed or you ran a 4.2, but like they still young. They don't understand. They don't know the nuances of the game. They don't even understand like coming off the field and talking to your wide receiver, like little stuff like that. You gotta kind of teach people how to be professional. And I feel like the NFL went away from that a lot. So it's just like the product it starts to get bad, and we hold these players to these high standards. They come in the draft, and it's like they're not ushered in. They're just like kind of put in these positions and expected to kind of know how to do this. No, and Patrick Mahomes is the face, but that's not how he was done. He was not thrown in the fire. Pat didn't talk into a mic for real until like Alex Smith was gone. Like he never even picked up a mic or said anything. So, and like I said, it was a perfect storm too. But I feel like they need to fix that in the NFL. That's really how people should get done. Even no matter first round pick or not, you need to like watch and learn how somebody is at your position, whoever it is, the elder statesman. But that's rambling for another day. But
yeah, and just add on that before we do move on. Unless Clinton, you need something to add as well too. I definitely, definitely understand that sentiment. And I will say I think we do have enough talent in the NFL where you can't have that. Where it's like, all right, we can get a veteran. We still got this number 1 pick. You still come to us. You have a chance that if you're gonna have like a year like Sam Darnold's in the world and everything like that, where it's like, okay, you could potentially like go ahead and try to find you another contract, but we're able to elevate, but we still got this younger that we know we want to go ahead and take over. Go ahead and do that. It's just I feel where we are at in the NFL though, like the game. These guys with the number 1 pick, they end up folding for somebody like Caleb Williams, and you see what happened. Like honestly, he didn't have that best year. Now he had some flashes that people enjoyed. We saw a little glimpses of what happened in um you know what he didn't have done in college. But yeah, Penix Jr. is a great example of that. Kirk Cousins started off, he had to take over, but look, he looked good and they feel comfortable now moving on next season with, and potentially, who knows, they might be a playoff team. So I get it. I just think some teams don't have that luxury, especially with the market that you may be in as well too, where it's like, hey, we need entertainment right now. We don't care about that Super Bowl. Are you gonna put us in that playoff picture? Or are you gonna come in and sell those seats at the end of the game, Mr. Brand? They trying to make that money as well too. Clean, you want to add anything on to that before we move forward?
Just you know, if they made this move, we all agree it would be for a left tackle, and the idea that a tackle would sit for a year probably doesn't, sit well. It worked for Mahomes, but it's Jalen Moore's battle to win, but it's also technically Jawan Taylor contract year. Figure out if he's worth it for next year. So, I know it's giving up a future first round pick, but if you think the Chiefs are still one of the last 4 teams picking at the end of the first round, it's not really giving that much away, other than the adage that Clark Hunt really just wants to be there for the first round and hold the jersey and all that stuff for promotional. But Brett Veach has traded down in the second round if the player that's he really wants is really a second round pick versus a first round pick. I think any other year in 2023, I don't think Felix is selected within the first round. I think the Chiefs give that up for somebody who are like the Tennessee Titans. Let them take Will Levis in the first round, get him out of Kansas City in a happy mood, and then take Felix at pick like 34 or whatever, because he would still be there. Brett Veach is going to make value moves, and a tackle would give you that kind of flexibility. Jalen Moore gets to prove it on the left. Jawan Taylor proves it on the right. If anything, you got Jawan Taylor insurance, but best case you have both insurance, or Jalen Moore's really good, then you have both tackles lined up. Do what kind of Tennessee did back in the day, where just there's a good tackle on the board, take them and figure out where to place them after the fact. Because, like Lonnie would agree, you can't have enough good offensive linemen.
That's true. And to all wrap it up in a bow, this more than likely is not happening, y'all. This is just having fun. So, it's just what we would really do if the situation was to come about. So, more than likely, we keep a 31 pick, or we probably moving back. It's going to probably be a tackle. It's probably going to be somebody on defense. It's going to be somewhat the best available, because really, that's where we at right now.
I'm not arguing a mid-20s pick. Like, if a player that's so good that will make an impact is there, like Trent McDuffie type pick, I wouldn't be opposed to that either. But I agree, we're probably going to see like all the good players taken, because I don't think this draft is very quarterback heavy, where all the great players that aren't the positions that the Chiefs need get shoved down. So the Chiefs are going to have to move up big if they want a player at a certain spot. But drafts is always a crapshoot. You never know what's going to happen. So, if a player falls, we may be, getting excited. You never know.
And the first 2 days will definitely be fun. Red Kingdom Media, we're definitely going to be here for those nights as well, too. And you also going to be seeing our buddy Dre on the stream as well, breaking down that day one, going all the way up until our 31st pick, seeing what the Chiefs are going to do. All right. Moving on to our last topic of the evening. In Veach We Trust. There's a lot going on in this particular topic, so let's go ahead and get straight into it. All right, so Brett Veach tenure in KC is wrapped around one pick that was made in 2017, and that was trading up to get quarterback Patrick Mahomes. Although he was not the GM at the time, he was the biggest advocate and the reason the Chiefs went after the future Hall of Famer. Ever since 2018, the Chiefs have been to a total of 5 Super Bowls, winning 3 of those. The last couple years, he has been underwhelming in free agency, but had a nice draft in 2021 and 2022, where we now have stars ready for a payday soon. Should Brett Veach have any concerns about his job security?
I love this question. I love how it was phrased. I don't think he should have any worries about his job security this year. However, I feel like after this year, If our ceiling changes from the AFC Championship and we lose sooner than that, I think Brett Veach will officially be on the hot seat. I know Brett Veach has done a lot. Like you said, he's had several great draft classes to the likes of 2021 and 2022. He's drafted several players that are all cascaded all across the NFL, not only on Chiefs rosters, but on several different rosters. Players that have earned one and two contracts in the NFL, and some working on their third. So he's a great general manager. I think he has definitely put himself in the upper echelon of general managers in these years past. But however, the questions on the offensive line have been real ever since Brett Veach has taken over. He did come back and refit and fix it, and was able to revamp it. And when the Chiefs were embarrassed, and also go get some players to kind of get the Chiefs over the pump when he went and got Frank Clark and Tyrann Mathieu, kind of really trying to change the franchise over, getting rid of Bob Sutton. Then you got guys like, Steve Spagnuolo. You go find a guy like Steve Spagnuolo, bring him in here, kind of start drafting guys that he likes, revamp the whole defense, which is wonderful. But there's always been a question at the offensive line position, like I said, ever since we lost Eric Fisher. And that was at the beginning of Brett Veach's tenure. Really went, like, I think I want to say like 2 years into his tenure. It was Eric Fisher's last year. And ever since then, the tackle position has just been a revolving door. Nevertheless, it never had caught up with Brett Veach really until this year passed. It caught up and smacked him right in the face, like a cold bucket of water, whatever you want to say. It was just, it got really bad. It came to a head. They had no answers at the tackle position. They went out and signed a guy that was coming off an ACL injury, to really the last guy you could had. You send out a smoke signal for help at the tackle position, and it's something that you could have had resolved before the season started. And it's something that we knew going into the season was probably going to be a question mark. The only hole that they didn't have filled. So if I noticed that, I know everybody else in Chiefs Kingdom has been noticing that. And I feel like he has made some wonderful picks, but he did pick somebody like Kingsley Suamataia. He did pick guys like Lucas Niang. He did pick guys like Wanye Morris. He has struck out on several picks. He picked guys like Clyde Edwards-Helaire. He picked guys like Joshua Kando. So he's struck out too. And just like it's like a hitter. You're not gonna hit 1,000, right? You're gonna hit in reality, you're gonna hit about 250. But you want to be hitting like 300, 400 really when it comes kind of astronomical numbers being a GM if you want to keep your job. And I just think Brett Veach he hasn't done that when it comes to those important picks, like the offensive line, the ones that you really build your franchise on. And I feel like if he's unable to do that and show us that he can't get somebody in here to play and find those hidden gems and something feasible for Mahomes, so we don't have to keep having this conversation, and we can talk about corners or wide receivers or something else, then I think, yes, he'll be on the hot seat. Because like I just named you about 3-4 different linemen that he struck out on. Yeah, he did find Creed Humphrey and Trey Smith, but that's not gonna cut it, bro. You gotta low key find 5 in order to when you got a franchise quarterback, especially because you're not gonna be able to pay people. So I think he's not on the hot seat yet. But if he don't figure it out after this year, and they have another situation where Mahomes is running for his life, then I think Brett Veach, he'll be on the hot seat for sure.
Yep. Yo, I know you can't argue it and say that Andy Reid is our general manager, but there is not a single offensive selection done by Brett Veach that is not quadruple okayed by Andy Reid. I just believe that, pure and simple. Just like there's times where he has made selections on defensive players or even free agency pickups or mid-season trades like Josh Uche, and then gives them to Spagnuolo and he says, nope, that doesn't fit, and moves on. But I cannot have the mindset that Brett Veach puts any offensive players on this team that Andy Reid does not personally ask for. So with that being said, Brett Veach's job security is as much secure as Andy Reid. Those two are locked at the hip. Unless Andy Reid walks away from NFL, you heard me, Dale. Unless Andy Reid walks away from the NFL, Brett Veach's job security is well intact until after that point. If he still has issues and the team is not having the continued success that they've had now, other than falling short of the Super Bowl twice, I don't know what more Brett Veach can do. And like I said, everything he does is because Andy Reid wants him to. Andy Reid used to be a general manager, said that's too much, and then conveniently had a general manager that was older and kind of did his own thing. But he kind of dished out contracts that were too much and kind of let go of Jeremy Maclin at the wrong time. And that set off Clark Hunt and Andy Reid. So Andy Reid was extended. And then he took a look down his coaching staff and said, "Oh, yeah, hey, Brett, you can be general manager. Get over here. You know what I like." And that's pretty much been the relationship ever since. I'm not discounting Brett Veach's abilities. Clearly, he's done well. And I think what we're arguing is that he hasn't spent enough money in free agency. And you can argue, is that a Clark Hunt issue in that we're not dishing out enough money because it's necessitated? Or is it because Brett Veach understands the value of certain contracts and knows that he doesn't want to essentially be in the same position that got John Dorsey fired? So Brett Veach is for sure trying to make sure he does not make the same mistakes as his former position that he's taken over for. So at this point, we'll have to see what Brett Veach's issue is in terms of being a general manager. And if you're going to say that half of his draft choices don't pick out, then you're every team in the NFL. And this team just happens to win championships. So they're clearly doing something right also.
All right. So like to unpack here. It's not really a lot because it's nothing that's really just bad that was being said. I think it's just both sides of the fence right here. I will say though, they're not attached to him. I would say, I'm not gonna lie. Dorsey, he can be terrible at contracts, I always say. That boy found some talent. He found some talent. And regardless of what everybody want to say, Brett Veach did it. He's not going to get all the credit because guess what? I drafted him before I got out of here. So I drafted him. And it's under my name. We going to have all the stories. Brett Veach got in my face every morning about it. Well, he the one who picked up a phone and said, "Patrick Mahomes, you come to Kansas City at the number 10 pick. You ready?" That's what he did. Now, Brett Veach, you made it work, though. And we're not going to sit here and act like that's not important. We're not going to sit here and act like he said, you know what? He was a former scout. I see some players. Now, he is probably horrible at evaluating some positions, but it's a whole scouting team. We got to remember that. It's just not just him. So they are coming together as a collective. They're bringing this information over to Andy Reid. Andy Reid let people do their jobs. But you're right. He's going to okay. I think a lot of them, if your head coach is not in there with the first round pick, and this is somebody who's going to be a franchise player for their team, and they feel like this player is going to impact the position, well, I'm not a part of that. Why? You're going to go bring in a quarterback that I don't have a conversation with, that I don't have a good feeling for? Where we do that at? I mean, we not Las Vegas. We not those major markets where it's like, we're going to do what we want because it's a showtime. And we just won whatever. No, we're trying to win championships. So I think we have to put that out there as well too. Will he be on a hot seat? Bro, y'all saying it right here. If we don't go to the AFC Championship this year, his seat is on fire. His seat can be on fire all his one, but it's on fire after the eighth season. The ninth season. So since 2017, when he took over, it's nearly 10 years. It took him to be on the hot seat. He'll be all right because Patrick Mahomes is going to continue saving him. I'm going to go ahead and put that out there. That's what he does. You get him a competent. All we're asking you to do is give him a competent offensive line. He's already getting familiar with the weapons that he got with the offense now. Travis Kelce got one more good season in him. We know that. So it's going to come together. But Lonnie, I know you want to say something. Go ahead.
I get what you're saying, but like Drake said in the comments, This is 2 times where the O-line is reshuffled under this regime. That is that I get what you said. That's gonna stand out to people. Period. Point blank. I get what y'all saying, but
nobody said it's not.
Bill Belichick wasn't good at drafting wide receivers. It didn't make him lose his job either.
But he wasn't bad at drafting offensive linemen. He wasn't gonna get his quarterback.
He ain't bad at drafting corners or finding defensive players that can come in and start.
Okay, that's fine. But everybody got their niche in what they good at. And that also was the downfall of Bill Belichick too. That's why he's not with the Patriots no more. You can't draft no skill position.
He's not with the Patriots after 20+ seasons, bro, and winning 6 championships. Well, let's not do that.
Okay, Brett, it's a what have you done for me lately? I think
this could be a what have you done. That's what's been opposite from the Kansas City Chiefs to me, though. Y'all on that what have you done for me lately? I'm on some what we continue to do right now.
I understand.
And I get what you said, but 3 of them won. Like, he will be on the hot seat, but y'all are rushing it, and y'all just not right because I can vouch for him. He don't like Veach. He don't care for Veach. Lonnie, I didn't heard you, and you didn't been on his side. Don't do that because somebody else saying that, bro. I'm going to call it right now.
Nah, I ain't doing it because somebody else said it, but I'm just saying. He shares the sentiments. I feel like a regular fan in 2025 that's watching the Chiefs, bro. I'm telling y'all, you don't get a million, bro. You don't. Okay, but I'm saying you don't get a million chances in this league, bro. You see how people Eberflus is gone now. Granted, he was having he did a whole bunch of stupid stuff throughout the season, but you don't get a million chances. I don't know how many more times y'all think they gonna let Pools have a record like that with the Bears before they say
he's not gonna have too many. But Harry Roseman, right, I got a fella named Harry Roseman that's over there with the Eagles. Only won 2 Super Bowls. He bought those Super Bowls, and I talked about them buying Super Bowls as well too. And that's his way of doing it. But however, we have not been to an AFC Championship game. We have been to the last 5 Super Bowls and only missed 1 of those and won 3 of those. You're not going to play with him like that. That's all I'm saying. I get where y'all coming from. We're not going to play like that until we're not in that situation. Once we're not in that situation and it happens repetitive, okay, Veach, 2 times in a year, bro. Now we really talking something that we're not about to do.
And all we saying is that it is kind of repetitive. You watch the trend. In a couple years, you probably gonna be right back at the board doing the same thing with your offensive line, the way you sign contracts and do deals, my brother. Unless you go find some talent,
I can't say
I
can't say that. No, I can say that.
Find some talent to put on your offensive line, you're gonna be right back at the drawing board doing the same thing. So we are starting to see a trend. It's not a trend yet.
Okay,
this is 2 years you done did the same thing in the Super Bowl. You done got exposed.
Okay, and this is why I can't say the same thing about. But this is
that trend is starting to
become. Don't let me lose my point because I'm about to attack this right now. Because you can't say that. I cannot say this because Mahomes saved him. It don't matter. They're going to still give him his credit for that too. Now I don't know how to not be unbiased because I'm saying Dorsey drafted him, but they're saying he's evaluating him and saying, "Hey, bro, you need him right now." You're not going to do that. I can say that because this is where you put all the facts out there. You're not just going to say, oh, this is just my thought right here. He's been horrible. Let's fire him. No, you're going to come to the table, put everything that he done, and you're going to make me like, damn. Who do I want to go get? Who can come in and who going to do all this? Who going to do all that? Who's going to take some risk? Who gonna say, nah, we ain't gonna go ahead and pay all this money right here and be in cap hell? Who gonna do all this? I just want to know. I mean, we can say the guys we can't. It's guys that come up. I understand, but at the same time, we're in the midst of a dynasty. We are. We just lost in the Super Bowl. We gotta lose. Let next year happen, bro. Because we're talking about we're not gonna be back next year. Did we give up hope? That's all I want to know.
I know. I said if we did, we didn't say we're not gonna be back next year.
So if we back next year in the Super Bowl, what's gonna happen?
Okay, if we back in the Super Bowl, then you need to win it because the expectation is not that you just go; it's that you win it, and not only that you win it, the way that you lost last time, you need to be dominant because if you get anything close to almost getting blown out, people gonna feel like the Chiefs is back again. And they back doing the same thing they did last year. They got all the way there, and they got exposed. So you know who that's gonna be a reflection of? The person that had the opportunity to change it. Not only the players had the opportunity to change it, but the general manager had the opportunity to change it too.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm not. All I'm saying is it can't be a repeating cycle. Can't keep doing the same thing over and over, even if it's a year in between. It don't matter. Care it's 1 year you did something good 1 year, so I forgot about the year you had before. No, that's not how it works.
So Brett Veach's general manager has never known anything other than AFC Championship loss or Super Bowl loss as his worst case scenario. Just FYI. John Dorsey had some worse seasons underneath that. So
don't talk about it, bro.
We're just saying where the standards are, and if you're really gonna negate
I don't care.
Brett Veach for Super Bowl losses, then I think you're looking at the wrong thing because, like I said, it's Andy Reid who determines what players will take the field, especially on offense. And it is up to the win-loss records that determine where the best offensive linemen or offensive tackles go. So if you're going to negate Brett Veach for his left tackle, then what you really want is the Chiefs to bottom out this season so they can finally take the left tackle at number 4 overall and be set for the next 10 years with Patrick Mahomes. That's what you want. And unfortunately, I don't think anybody else would want that because that would take a drastic decline. So that means that we have to make mediocre picks to try to fit the void or mortgage the future like our last topic, and you weren't interested in that either. So I don't think Brett Veach can really do right in your eyes at this point.
But no, I'm not negating that, but it's his responsibility to field a comparable team too, my dog. Right?
It's lose, bro. It's lose, bro.
No, but I'm saying, it's his job to field a comparable team too, right? What is it his job to do, Clint? If it's Andy Reid's job to pick the player and do what it's his job to field a comparable team.
We was 15-2 this season, and that was without Patrick Mahomes, by the way, for both of y'all who was talking about Mahomes has been saying. That's cool.
But I'm saying it's his job to field a comparable team, correct or incorrect?
He did. 15-2, number 1 in the AFC, went to Super Bowl.
It's just not enough to get over the hump. So, and if that's cool with y'all,
we gotta beat that team in Super Bowl too.
That's not cool with me. I'm not good with that, and I don't think nobody else is good with that. You build a team that was good enough. No, you need to build a team that's great and able to get over the hump. That's your expectation. You set that expectation for yourself. It's not my fault that's your ceiling.
But that's the line.
Clinton, that's not my fault that's his ceiling. That's the standard he set for himself.
Okay, but that's the line of the discussion that you're drawing. You're saying that because Brett Veach has had 2 bad years that look the same, that negates all the good stuff he's ever done. And
no, I'm not negating that, Clinton. I'm good for you having those. That's great. You had those 2 good years. I'm saying that you continue to lose, and you're losing the same way. If something continues to happen to you, and it continues to happen the same way, you're not learning from your mistakes, right or wrong. Like we're grown. We're all grown here on this podcast.
You want them to go 7-0. You want them to go 7-0.
Andy Reid management then? You really want me to say Andy Reid?
No, I'm saying
6-0 from Georgia. That's what y'all want.
If you don't learn from your mistakes the first time, you keep losing same way. Then what? Come on, cuz
6-0 on some Jordan. That's what y'all want, bro. Y'all want him to go 6-0 on some Jordan, perfect, and then retire because you're not going to do nothing bad. Like you're going to lose eventually.
I'm not going to make
just go ahead and get out while you like.
I'm not going to make a cop out for him. He said, "I love my GM, but I'm not going to cop out for you, Brett Veach. You set the bar up here, bro. So that's where the bar is. And if you can't reach your bar every time, you should set your ceiling a little bit lower."
Wow. Dale, Lonnie has officially swapped places with me because all last year and the year before that, I said if the Chiefs don't win Super Bowls, it's not worth it. And that is officially the standard that Lonnie has set in his brain. So he has officially gone into the delusional fan point. Remember Tyler Thigpen, bro. It didn't used to be this way.
I do. I remember it, but the way that the question was, is Brett Veach going to be on the hot seat?
Think about how long King Carl was our general manager. Did we ever win Super Bowls in the mid-90s?
It's not like that no more, though.
Why was he still our GM?
It's not like that no more, though. So,
that's cool, man. At the end of the day,
but guess what it means, Lonnie? I don't think you're ready for a complete rebuild. We keep talking about these mini rebuilds, but for a legit rebuild, it takes bottoming out. Do you really want to see the Chiefs win 5 games in this season?
Yeah.
With Patrick Mahomes? Do you really want to see Texas Tech Patrick Mahomes come back?
See, no, of course not, right? You don't want to see him win 5 games, but Clinton, what I'm telling you, it's not our job to figure out how to rebuild a team when you got an all-star, when you got a great quarterback on your roster.
Where was his quarterback, though? Where was Carl's quarterback? Every single one he tried never worked, never paid out.
Trey trying to go to Carl Peterson, though. You see how y'all nitpick in certain areas, and none of these guys won a Super Bowl or have built a Super Bowl roster or a champion. Like, it's cool. Like, I say this, though, for real, because I'm really unbiased. The thing is, I really understand y'all take, though. And I understand where y'all coming from. Like, we know what time we're in. And with all you're saying, rebuilding the offensive line, like having the same issues as the offensive line, having that same issue, it is a repetitive problem. And you can't call out these particular issues. And I definitely can respect that. But that's at the same time, when you are at the top, you are getting critiqued. So I'm just the one to be here to say, like, y'all are critiquing him because he has been at the top of his game this whole time. This is a praise, Lonnie, that you have gave him as well, too, when you started off your take. So, like, it's all good. Like, I think at the end of the day, this conversation is really like, where are we trying to where are we trying to really go with it? And Carl Peterson, yes, he had great teams. We know nobody said they were just horrible. I didn't say that. Like, I mean, I know the Trent Greens that we had. We was able to pick up, other guys as well, too, that, led us to the playoffs and all that good stuff. But at the end of the day, now these guys, they had hella great teams. We got hella Super Bowls. Which one you want? We got hella great teams and we got hella great Super Bowls. But, I think we all just want all in one. We want that GM that has hella great teams and hella Super Bowls. And I get it. And I think Veach is trying to get to that point to where not only do he has the Super Bowls, he had the great teams as well. I mean, he started off with a quarterback. He got that together. He has a defensive coordinator that's been a defense where once upon a time we were in the top 20s. Now we have moved up into the top 10, top 5 conversation. And that's having an elite quarterback. We just need to go ahead and get this offensive line together. Veach, you're not fired now. But basically, pretty much what everybody's saying, we got to get this offensive line for the next 5 to 10 years. We need it. We need to figure it out. That way you can focus on always retooling and revamping the weapons that we need. Because if we're going to keep on bringing out guys and, of course, creating guys that's going to be, of course, great and they're going to end up getting these great contracts, you got to be prepared to go out there and try to, of course, accompany that and, make sure you got a great offensive line. But we got to go get those other offensive weapons that could come in and be the part of this squad as well, too, because we're going to be missing somewhere. We're not going to have the top 1 in every position. Not going to have the top 5 in every position. So we're going to have to figure it out. Anything else y'all want to say before we go ahead and close it out?
Nope, I'm good.
All right. Well, this was definitely a fun conversation. Thank those who, of course, joined our live today. Shout out to Dre. Of course, he'll be having his live coming this Friday as well, too. So make sure to tune into that. Braxton, he has his Substack that's coming out, his team builder. He's coming up to the last couple of divisions. So make sure to check that out because he'll be having that coming out on Friday. And remember to also check out Clinton Chef Veach's mock drafts as well too. But that's all we have for this episode of Gridiron Gambit. Appreciate everyone for, of course, that was tapping in with us on YouTube and also on X as well. Please make sure to follow us on all our social media platforms at Red Kingdom Media and also subscribe to our YouTube page as well. That's all we have for this episode. Talk to you on the next one. And as always, go Chiefs!
Thanks for checking out this update straight from the heart of Chiefs Kingdom. We appreciate your passion, so please leave a like and follow us wherever you tune in from. See you next tailgate, your trusted source for all things Chiefs, Red Kingdom Media.